What's up, everybody? It's Alex Leak and Friends NFL podcast back for another week. I'm your host, Alex Leak. We got Dustin back on the show. What's up, Dustin? Good to have you on.
Yeah, what's up, man? Thanks for having me. It's been a good night.
Yep, coming off a pretty big interview. The head coach, Hugh Jackson, that was epic. If you guys haven't listened to that one yet, go watch that one. Hugh Jackson was the shit, as always. And Dustin, that was your first interview, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was, man. I was nervous, but then, as the interview went on, I got more and more comfortable, and I had to say, Coach Jackson is a very nice guy and very intelligent.
Yeah, he brought it. So, all right, let's get into our version of the Week 5 breakdown. We're gonna start with the Bears and the Bucks on Thursday night. Despite, in my opinion, I thought Nick Foles had a bad game overall, but he came through in the clutch and with some good decision making, and we got the win. The defense stepped up and carried the team. Khalil Mack was getting to Tom Brady at will, it seemed. What did you think watching the Bears-Bucks game, and what stood out to you?
I think that's what you're going to have to expect for the rest of the season is for the defense to carry the Bears. I think Foles is going to do just enough for them to get past the team, but it's pretty much going to have to be the Bears relying on the defense.
Yeah, and you're talking to a Bears fan. That's been the story since I've been a fan. The Bears defense carrying the load, Maybe not for 2 years under Mark Trestman, but besides that, it's always been about the defense. And I hope that Foles plays better going forward because, I feel like there was plays left off the field and potential turnovers that, he got away with. So I hope he plays better going forward. But I'll take 4-1. Win at all costs, really.
That's pretty much what it takes nowadays. And Foles is he's just more of a game manager to me.
Yeah, and that's fine. With a defense like that, as long as we stay healthy and continue to play well on the defensive side of the ball, a game manager might be all we need. As long as Foles doesn't turn the ball over, makes plays when it matters most, Did you see Kyle Ford with a great hit, forcing a fumble in this game? They throw past the running back, and just as he catches it and goes to turn upfield, Fuller lays him out, puts him on his back, and the ball pops up in the air. The refs were late, but threw a flag on it. And in my mind, I was like, here we go again. Like, this is just another example of NFL refs throwing a flag because the player was, quote, hit too hard. Did you see that, and did you think the same thing?
Yeah, it was a great play and great hit, and it was legal, so I don't even know why they attempted to throw the flag out there, but it was hit of the year.
Yeah, and by a corner of all people. But great to see, and this is my gripe with the way the rules are set up, is that the reason they threw the flag is because at live speed, you can't tell. At live speed, even from the TV, it's hard to tell whether it's a clean hit or not. The only time you can ever tell for sure is when they go to replay and slow it down, right? And so my problem with it is this: why are these calls not allowed to be reviewed? They should be automatically reviewed. I would think that's a thing for player safety as well. Sometimes whether it's called or not, if it's a hard hit like that you're not sure about, it should be reviewed like they do in college football on targeting calls. And I don't care if it results in longer games. I just want to get the calls right. Do you agree?
Absolutely. I mean, there are, some players get ejected for doing hits like that, and it could cost teams games or penalties, and it's just not fair.
Yeah, and exactly, and you're penalizing, potentially on this play, you were going to penalize a corner, a defensive player, for making a textbook hit, clean as hell, shoulder to the chest, dislodging the ball. Is that not what we've been wanting to see out of the NFL for years, but they kept throwing the flag on that? Now we're finally getting to the point where these players have adjusted, are hitting clean and legally, and still getting penalized. I know it didn't happen on this play because by a miracle the refs got the call right, but the potential that a player would get penalized for that hit is just that alone needs to be why the rule needs to be changed. Don't you agree?
Yeah, and I mean it's that tackle was the way he was taught, like perfect form and
Yep.
everything. And when a player gets penalized for that, they're starting to look over and be like, "What more do you expect me to do? This is how I was taught to tackle."
Yeah. And so it's like they're trying to take away the hard hits. They'd rather him bear hug him there and
That's
allow
not
the completion than make a game changing play. You know what I'm saying?
fans watch for the hits sometimes, man.
Yeah, it's still to this day, fans watch for the hits. What's the biggest play out of last night's game? The stiff arm by Derrick Henry that threw Josh Norman on his back. That's what everyone was talking about. And and yet they want to penalize, the offensive player can do it, but not the defensive player. That's why I think they need to change it, make these reviewed. Don't you think that college does a much better job of officiating these hard hits?
Yeah, I think it's a rule that needs to be looked into more.
Like in college, they throw a flag, they automatically go review it.
Yeah, everything in my opinion nowadays that is questionable should be reviewed.
Yeah, I agree. So let's get to the rest of this game. Um, I mean, so let's see here. So what do you think of the end? I mean, the Tom Brady with the holding up four fingers for getting the downs. I mean, that's pretty. We just talked about it with you. That was mind blowing. I didn't expect Tom Brady to forget what down it was.
Yeah, I think it was for one miscommunication between Brady and the offense, and I mean, it seems like to me Brady probably wasn't even watching the scoreboard, but it's just something that you don't usually see from a veteran like that.
No, you don't expect it, especially from Tom Brady and the 6 championship rings. Like he's known for being clutch. He's known for coming through in the clutch. So for him to have a brain for it like that, it was almost mind blowing.
I mean, it is your job as a quarterback to watch the game clock and to know what down it is. So
Yeah, I don't put that on coaching at all. That's on the quarterback. He's got to know that. If this was Mitch Trubisky and he had done that, what do you think the national media narrative would be?
oh man, they would
They'll be
be
killing him.
yeah, it wouldn't.
Yet Tom Brady gets a pass. We got to hold Brady accountable for that. So he's got to be better. And I didn't like that he never owned up to it. He's never once said, "Oh yeah, I didn't know," but he did. What do you think of Tom Brady congratulating LeBron with LeBron's face on Tom Brady's body holding up the four?
Yeah, man. I mean, everybody knows how I feel about LeBron, but
You love the Lakers, don't you?
no, absolutely not. I'm a diehard Chicago fan through and through. But anyways, I mean, those are two of the best in this era of sports. So I thought
Yeah,
it was pretty funny and cool.
yeah, it was. Let's go to Panthers Falcons. Falcons fall to 0-5. Were you surprised to see them fire their GM and head coach afterwards, or does it make sense to you?
It makes sense to me. I mean, it was more. I was expecting it more just because of the leads that they gave up and the struggles in Atlanta. Man, they're just struggling really bad right now.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and accountability. You can't go 0-5. I think where they start last year, like they started really bad last year, like 0-8 or something, and you can't do that again this year.
Yeah, and I mean, there's no excuse when you have a franchise quarterback,
Yeah,
2-star receivers. I
right.
mean,
Todd Gurley, even. I mean, I know he's not the same, but still.
yeah, I mean, there's just no excuse. But I mean, again, they have been depleted though. With
Yeah,
injuries.
they have been, and so it's tough for Atlanta fans. But I think what the Falcons need is to hit that reset button. Um, Now the Panthers, they started 0-2 and now on a 3-game winning streak with the Bears and Saints games coming up. Teddy Bridgewater seems to be doing pretty good, and they lose Christian McCaffrey and go on a 3-game winning streak. What do you think's going on in Carolina?
Well, I think we are finally seeing how good Teddy Bridgewater is.
Yeah.
I mean, it's we've seen a little bit, when he took the Saints to, I think it was 5-0 in his starts while Drew Brees was injured, and
Yep.
I mean, we all knew Teddy Bridgewater could do that, and the Panthers can be dangerous once they get McCaffrey back.
Yeah, and it is a little concerning to me going into Sunday for the Bears, going up against this Panthers team, because in that 5-0 run by Bridgewater last year, he tore up the Bears. He dissected the Bears defense. So, he might have our number a little bit. He used to play us in the division with Minnesota. So, that's another must win for the Bears, or maybe not must win, but we should beat this Panthers team. And I would hate for Teddy Bridgewater to dice us up again, and for them to be on a 4-game winning streak. We need to get to 5-1. So, as a Bears fan, I'm a little bit concerned going into that matchup.
Yeah, it's almost a guarantee that the Bears have to get to 5-1 because the Packers don't look like they're slowing down anytime soon.
Yeah, I'm the world's biggest Bucs fan going into Sunday. They better beat the Packers. Bengals Ravens. Ravens win 27-3. How do you stop this Ravens team? I mean, they were great last year. Went 14-2. You got Lamar Jackson. But look at the drafting job that these guys have done. Lamar Jackson, Marquise Brown, Miles Boykin, now Devin Duvernay, J.K. Dobbins, and Patrick Queen. The GM in Baltimore is on fire.
Yeah, I mean, the way that you stop the Ravens, in my opinion, is make Lamar Jackson pass the ball.
Yeah, but I mean, how difficult is that, though, when you've got Mark Ingram and J.K. Dobbins to run the ball, too? He can kind of play like almost ground and pound without Lamar Jackson, and then play action off of that and have Lamar Jackson with space or open targets. I mean, it's tough.
It is tough, but, I mean, teams have done it to them in the playoffs. You just have to really contain Jackson. That's all you really have to do.
Yeah, and the Ravens need to figure out their playoff woes. I don't know what that's about, but Eric DaCosta is the name of their GM, and he's been on fire. I mean, when they drafted him, I was like, holy shit, you're adding J.K. Dobbins to this offense? I mean, you watched J.K. a lot in college. He's a threat as well.
Yeah, he's a Buckeye, but, I feel different about them Buckeyes.
But that talent's undeniable, too.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
So Bengals, they drop it. They fall to 1-3-1. But what's your thoughts on Joe Burrow? He's looked pretty good despite the bad record.
Yeah, Joe Burrow is what I expected him to do. He has 3 games of over 300 yards passing, and, I mean, it's not his fault. His team is just a dumpster fire right now, but they have a big future. If they can draft right and rebuild, they're fine.
Yeah, speaking of that, did you see A.J. Green on the sideline? Some lip readers were saying that he said, just trade me. Not great there if A.J. Green wins out.
Yeah, it's not good. And, I mean, that probably won't be good for Burrow if he does end up getting traded. But,
yeah,
I mean,
you can kind of understand for A.J. I think he wants to play for a contender at his age.
Yep. And, I mean, we're seeing the same thing with Le'Veon Bell. People want to win championships. And
they don't want to be on a winless team or a bad team.
Yeah.
The Texans finally get their first win of the season by beating the Jags 30-14. And then, but they're coming off firing GM head coach Bill O'Brien, interim head coach Romeo Crennel, now the oldest head coach in NFL history at age 73, gets the win. Nice to see the Texans get on the win column. Do you think that Romeo Crennel can turn this team around and they can finish with a respectable record?
I do. I think that they'll finish at 500, maybe 8-8.
Yeah.
But, I mean, the firing to Bill O'Brien was a long time coming because, I mean, he's the reason why D-Hop ain't there and
Yeah.
all the turmoil and stuff. So, but yeah, Romeo Crennel is going to be great for this organization for the rest of the season.
Yeah, I do think they'll start to turn it around, and who knows? Maybe they can get to 9-7 and sneak into the playoffs as the 7th seed. So we'll see. Um, let's see here. The Raiders Chiefs. The Raiders go into Arrowhead and win a shootout, 40-32, with Derek Carr outperforming Patrick Mahomes. Huge divisional win for Vegas. How impressed were you? I mean, I didn't see this coming. Derek Carr and the Raiders go into Arrowhead and get the win. Pretty surprising. Do you think the Raiders can be, can challenge the Chiefs with a division or get into the playoffs and make some noise?
I mean, I do. They're more of an underrated team that, you really don't know much about the Raiders at this
Yeah.
moment, but I feel like that win over the Chiefs is going to lead them into having better games coming forward. So, do I think that they'll win the division? No, they might get in on a wild card, but it's still going to be tough.
Yeah, and they're more so an up and coming team, I think, than a team right now, But a big win in Arrowhead, I mean, you have to call it what it is, a huge win. And Josh Jacobs is the man. I'm a big Josh Jacobs fan. He's running hard, and I think that's really helping the offense. And it was nice to see Derek Carr going downfield. He wasn't Johnny Checkdown on Sunday. He was
Yeah,
throwing deep to Henry Ruggs and these guys.
I was about to say, yeah, I mean, this game was more bigger for Derek Carr to prove that he's, one of the best quarterbacks in the league because at times he gets so much, crap for saying that he doesn't belong.
Yeah. What do you think this game says about Mahomes, if anything? I mean, this is the guy who's probably the most talented quarterback in football on paper. Reigning Super Bowl MVP, half a billion dollar contract. Um, you know, on paper, so far he's on track to be the GOAT. I know we're jumping the gun a little bit, but what do you think this game, getting outplayed by Derek Carr, means for Mahomes, or is it just an outlier?
I think it was just a bad game, but then at the same time, when teams go to watch film, this helps them figure out on how to be able to stop Patrick Mahomes.
Yeah, and credit to the Raiders secondary. They're doing a pretty good job covering Mahomes' weapons.
And I mean, usually if you pressure Mahomes and stick to your assignment, you can stop him.
Yeah, and who was that? Eric Harris. Mahomes did throw an interception pretty late in that game. So you can't be doing that. Yeah, Eric Harris with that pick. Eric Harris has come up big, the Raiders safety. I'm a fan of his.
Yeah, I'd like to give a shout out, man. Darren Waller's been playing very well too.
Yeah, they need to get him the ball more and more because he is a damn talented tight end.
And Ruggs is lightning fast.
Yeah, and they got him. I was thinking they were going to go, more of a number one, a size receiver, but they went Ruggs to stick it to the Chiefs, who have gone speed. They're trying to match the Chiefs with that speed. So we'll see if it works out. Cardinals at the Jets. The Cardinals improved to 3-2. Jets dropped to 0-5. The Jets released Le'Veon Bell this week. Today, in fact. I mean, what does that say about this Jets team? They seem to be tanking, almost looking to go 0-16 and get Trevor Lawrence. Is that what you're seeing?
Yeah, I think that's what they really want to happen, and they just need a whole new rebuild. Not only do they need Lawrence, but they need weapons on offense and a better defense. And I don't see Adam Gase being there very much longer.
No, Gase has got to go. Front office needs an overhaul, in my opinion. And what do you think of Sam Darnold? Is it time to move on already from Sam Darnold?
See, that's the thing that I'm kind of, debating on whether, because Darnold does have arm talent. That's a for sure thing, but it's just I don't think he's under the right system.
Yeah. He's got no weapons. You look at it, who's he throwing to? Besides Le'Veon Bell, who's now gone, who's he throwing the ball to? Robbie Anderson's gone now too. So I don't like what the Jets are doing. I think they are trying to tank for Lawrence. And some people will go ahead. I mean, Sam Darnold could be a guy to watch for San Francisco.
Yeah, and I mean, like it's to me, it goes back to Adam Gase. They need to let him go because he really hasn't done very much with them, and he didn't do anything with Miami. So
yeah, I agree. And he gets all that praise for the years with Denver. But it's like I think Peyton Manning could have set NFL records with any offensive coordinator,
Yeah, absolutely.
Now, I mean, yeah, and to your point of Sam Darnold not being done, just because he sucks with the Jets, it wouldn't surprise you at all to see Sam Darnold go to San Francisco, team up with Kyle Shanahan, and then start balling out.
Yeah, I think Shanahan is the man to rejuvenate anyone's career. I mean,
any quarterback at least, yeah.
Yeah, and Jimmy G, unfortunately, I think I'm starting to think maybe last year was just a fluke, and that defense led them to the Super Bowl.
Well, even last year there was questions about could Jimmy G do it, and it was the running game in San Francisco that was carrying them. You look back at the Super Bowl, the Niners potentially could have won it if Jimmy G had hit on that throw to Emmanuel Sanders instead of overthrowing him.
Yeah, I'm never going to forget about that throw, man. He was wide open.
Speaking of players you're never going to forget, big game for Steelers rookie wide receiver Chase Claypool, who goes for 4 touchdowns in a 38-29 win over the Eagles. The Steelers improved to 4-0. Chase Claypool, I mean, I thought he was good. I don't know if I thought he was this good. That's craziness.
Yeah, I mean, if you don't remember when we were doing our draft preview, I told you Chase Claypool was going to be a big star.
Yeah.
And this is I think this is pretty dangerous for the Pittsburgh Steelers because with them having Juju and Claypool,
yep,
they could be a favorite to win the Super Bowl.
They could be, and that defense is nasty as hell too. So you say that. You're a fan. I'm a fan. We do a podcast. We shouldn't know more than the GMs, the actual draft analysis people. In the last multiple drafts, I've had DK Metcalf, AJ Brown, and Chase Claypool all going in the first round. Why is it that we can get these wide receivers right, but in the actual league, they keep falling to the second round? Why do you think that is?
I think they're undervaluing these receivers, and
yeah.
I mean that's really a question I couldn't answer. But like I said, in my opinion,
mind blowing. It's like why? I don't understand it either.
We know our sports, bro. That's why. Yeah. To be honest, but
well, maybe we should get those GM jobs. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, but again, they're just undervaluing these receivers and believing what the media says. Like, oh, we believe they're a second round guy, so the GMs are actually, believing and falling into that trap. That's how I see it.
Yeah, I agree. I don't understand it. I think it's overthinking. And like you look at DK Metcalf, you don't even need to see him play wide receiver. Just look at the guy. He looks like an absolute freak. Yeah,
he's the most unguardable receiver right now in the NFL. There's no question.
I've been tweeting that and posting that recently. I'm like, DK Metcalf is straight up unguardable. Like game-winning touchdown. Just throw it up to the guy. It doesn't matter. I don't know. You need to throw 3 people on him. He's like the Kelvin Johnson rule. Put as many bodies on him as possible.
I was just about to say that. He reminds me of the late, great CJ.
Well, he's not dead.
Well, I mean, I know he
NFL
dead,
terms. Yeah, retired. Yeah. No, I know what you were saying. I was giving you shit. Um, Rams Washington football team. The Rams win 30-10. Kyle Allen starts the game in place of Dwayne Haskins, suffers a concussion, and so veteran quarterback Alex Smith returns to action for the first time since his nearly career-ending leg injury in 2018. Awesome story and comeback. Nice to see Alex Smith out there, but it was also a little bit worrisome behind that offensive line as Alex Smith was getting sacked a lot in this game.
Yeah, yeah, that team needs a lot of pieces. But again, how I feel is they should have given the ball back to Haskins. I mean, Haskins got robbed out of his starting spot.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I agree with you. I don't know why they're going. Haskins seems to be the future. So I don't understand the move. But yeah, the Washington offensive line gave up 8 sacks, 4 of them to Aaron Donald. Speaking of Aaron Donald, man, 4 sacks in that game. Aaron Donald, I'm a big Khalil Mack guy, but Aaron Donald is probably the best defender in football.
Yeah, that guy's a monster, man. He's definitely – you can't block him. It doesn't matter who you are.
It's crazy. All right, so Rams improved to 4-1. Washington falls to 1-4. What do you think of the Rams? Are they are they a contender in that division? They appear so, but Seattle looks pretty damn good.
Yeah, I mean, I think that they'll finish second in that division. It's just because, Russell Wilson and the Seahawks are just on fire right now. I don't really see anyone, taking them away from winning that division. So
Speaking of quarterbacks that a lot of people were starting to write off was Jared Goff. And so I credit to Sean McVay for turning Goff around, and Goff seems to be playing pretty good football of late.
I mean, to me, Goff is still a game manager because I haven't seen enough for me to call him a playmaker yet.
Yeah, and so McVay is doing his best to put him in position to succeed. He's got weapons around him. Cooper Kupp. I'm a big fan of that tight end, Gerald Everett, as well. I would throw the ball a lot to him.
Yeah, Everett is a good player. But also, I think Goff is still developing. If you give him another 2 years with McVay, I think they're going to be Super Bowl contenders again.
So that brings me to another point of you're preaching patience with quarterback development. The NFL is not. The NFL is so, what have you done for me lately? And shows such a lack of patience with these young quarterbacks, i.e. Dwayne Haskins, Mitch Trubisky, these different guys. Trubisky, I mean, he's had his shot, but I still think they could have been more patient. What do you think about the NFL teams and coaches not being patient enough with these quarterbacks?
Well, I mean, part of me understands it. They want to win now, but I mean, a lot of quarterbacks you have to develop, and that could take a year, 2 years, 3 years. You're not going to get lucky and get a Patrick Mahomes right away,
Yeah, and it's easier for a team like the Rams to be patient when they're still winning football games.
Yeah, and I mean, it's not as long as you're winning in the league, that should be all that matters.
Yeah, I agree. It's the NFL. It's not always going to be pretty. You just got to find a way. Let's go to Dolphins 49ers, where I'm surprised by this. When they said Jimmy Garoppolo was starting, I was like, all right, there the 49ers win to get to 3-1, or to get to 3-2. Instead, the 1-3 Dolphins come in to Levi Stadium and blow the 49ers out 43-17. Jimmy Garoppolo struggles in return from injury, throwing 2 first-half interceptions, and the Dolphins jump out to a 30-7 halftime lead. So C.J. Beathard takes over at halftime, benching Jimmy G. How shocked were you to see the Dolphins go into San Francisco and just take it to the woodshed?
Yeah, I mean, I was shocked, but then again, the Miami Dolphins are getting better game after game. So,
Do you believe in the Dolphins? I mean, so Fitzpatrick's doing pretty well, but do you think that when they put in Tua, they're going to keep getting better, or is that a downgrade at this point? What do you think? Because
You know,
Fitzpatrick's had a damn good game.
yeah, Fitzpatrick's playing very well, and I feel like they should ride that momentum with
Yeah,
Fitzpatrick. And I'd say wait on Tua until Fitzpatrick starts to struggle.
yeah, I
Because, I
agree.
mean, he is
Ideally,
inconsistent.
ideally, have Tua redshirt, have Tua sit the entire year, and then proceed with him, give him an entire off season, and proceed with him starting week 1 next year.
Yeah, because, I mean, if they can keep getting a couple more wins for the first time, they might actually not finish last for the first time in a while in that division because
Yeah.
obviously the Jets are probably not going to win the game this season.
Yeah, and credit to Brian Flores, who has done a pretty good job there in Miami. Taking I don't think it's a very talented team and squeezing out some wins. I mean, they're getting production on Devontae Parker and these guys, and Devontae Parker was thought to be an afterthought not too long ago.
Yeah, I've always had faith in Parker.
I
I
like
use
Preston
him.
Williams on that roster too.
Yeah, I use Parker all the time on Madden, and I tell you what, he's a beast.
That's what's up. Um, and then how about this kicker for the Dolphins? See, people oftentimes don't talk about all 3 phases of football, and all 3 phases need to be doing their job. Part of the reason the Dolphins are doing better, kicker Jason Sanders has yet to miss a kick this season. He's 14 of 14 on field goals and 10 of 10 on extra points.
Yeah, I mean, that's huge because there's a lot of teams out there that are struggling with their kicking game.
Yeah. So when you got the hot one, stick with it.
Yeah, I almost want him to come to Indy. Maybe it'll help us a lot.
It's shocking to me. I just looked it up because I'm like, has he really kicked 14 field goal attempts already? But yeah, he went 5 for 5 in the last 2 games, and 10 for 10 combined in the last 2 games.
Yeah, and I mean, but that also kind of shows how Miami struggles to score touchdowns.
Yeah, yeah, it's true. So we'll see if they continue. But as long as Sanders is doing his thing, you're gonna trust him. So good on Jason Sanders. Um, Let's see. So with Jimmy G struggling, some experts on Twitter, actual 49ers, media and such, are suggesting that the 49ers should immediately look into trade offers for Packers quarterback Aaron Rodgers or possibly Matthew Stafford, possibly Sam Darnold. What do you think on that?
Yeah, man. I think at the moment Rodgers is gonna stay where he is because he's on fire over
You don't
in
think
Green
Green Bay
Bay.
wants to move on from him yet?
No, but I think it would be a good move if San Francisco can pull Stafford from Detroit. It'll give Stafford a chance to finally be with a contender.
Well, and that's going to piss some Lion fans off because they love Stafford and think that Patricia is the entire reason that they're struggling. But I've seen multiple people saying that if the Lions move on from Patricia, they're also going to move on from GM Bob Quinn and potentially also move on from Matthew Stafford, a complete rebuild in Detroit. So Lion fans might not like what the future has in store because I know they're still all in on Matthew Stafford. A lot of them are.
Yeah, sorry, Brett, but I just had to say that.
Yeah. Yeah, it'll be interesting to get his take on it if we get him back on next week.
Yeah, but I think Stafford is eventually gonna, want out of Detroit because he is the best quarterback right now currently playing that, doesn't even have a chance to win a ring.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm always confused on Stafford because he can throw any arm angle. He's got an awesome arm talent, but he also makes some dumb decisions at times. And in week 4, he had a really bad interception in the end zone that hurt their chances against the Saints. If he doesn't throw that interception and they come away with a touchdown, they could have potentially still won that game against the Saints. So, sometimes decision making comes into play with Matthew Stafford that takes
Yeah,
away from his arm talent.
Sounds like another quarterback I know, but I'm not going to mention any names.
Colts Browns. Speak of the devil. Phillip Rivers with a pick six to start the second half that really kind of buried him. An intentional grounding throw in the end zone that resulted in a safety. In your opinion, is it time to turn to backup quarterback Jacoby Brissett?
Absolutely, man. And here's where I'm going to have my rant. I'm sorry, but
No, go for it. It's good for the
I have
podcast.
to say
Let's
this.
go.
Phillip Rivers is, man, he did the same thing in San Diego / LA
Yep.
that he's doing in Indianapolis. I mean, 4 touchdowns, 5 picks. 2 of those are pick sixes.
Yeah,
And
can't have it.
And you're still a starting quarterback. Get out of here, man. It is time for Jacoby Brissett. Us Colts fans are one decent quarterback away from having a Super Bowl run. And Phillip Rivers is definitely not the guy. So pack up your stuff and leave.
And I think Phillip Rivers could excel in the backup role. A veteran quarterback that's been around a long time who can help Jacoby Brissett. I think it is time to go with Brissett. In my opinion, I said it last year when Luck immediately, abruptly retired. I said Jacoby Brissett might be the best backup quarterback in football, and I still think that he's right there. Like, he's a talented borderline starter. So you put him in there with that offensive line, that running game, and that defense, maybe he can have success.
Yeah, I mean, plus he's way more athletic than Phillip. Rivers is more of a statue, so he just stands there and he really can't extend plays. But Brissett's 6'5", 230, 240, and he can move.
Yeah, I agree with you on that. Now, all the talk was about how the Colts might have had the best defense in football going into that game, but they allow 32 points to the Browns. Now, some of that's not their fault because of pick six and safety and what have you. Do you still have a lot of faith in this Colts defense?
I mean, I have, but then again, I told you I don't, because there are holes in our defense that get exposed, especially by great quarterbacks.
Yeah. I mean, that's any defense, too. Any defense in football can be exposed by an elite quarterback. The Bears have had it happen before, etc.
It's a bend but don't break defense, but sometimes I want the Pittsburgh Steelers defense. I want it where we're in the face of the quarterback almost every time he goes to snap the football,
Yeah. What's the latest? I'm a big fan. My favorite Colt is rookie safety Julian Blackmon. Dude is balling out. But what's the deal with his injury? He didn't participate in Wednesday's practice with a groin injury. So you got to hope to get Julian Blackmon back here soon.
Yeah, he's playing very well, and I hope he can play on Sunday.
Both those, that Utah young secondary, Julian Blackmon and Jalen Johnson, 2 rookies that came out this year. I love them both. Whatever Utah is doing with their secondary, the Utes, I love what they're doing.
Yeah, Kyle Whittingham is known to create some decent players, man. He's a good coach over there in Utah.
Yep, and fittingly, to end this game, Cody Parkey seals the win with a field goal kick that goes off the goalpost. Cody Parkey, man, every kick is a magnet to the goalpost. He loves the goalpost.
Yeah, it kind of pissed me off because I was listening to it on the radio and they go, "Oh, it's off the goalpost," and then they're like, "Oh, it went in." I'm like, man, can we please for once have a repeat of the double doink? But
Hey, don't say that word on this show. No, like, why can't the double doink have hit the post twice and bounced in just like that kick? But no, it had to bounce out, had to get eliminated from the playoffs. I was in the stands for that game. I'll never get over it. So you know what they say.
yeah, I don't get how he still has a job, but hey, it is what it is.
Yeah, there's a lack of kickers in this league, a lack of good ones at least. But all that being said, how about the Browns getting to 4-1 for the first time since 1994? They're in a tough division. Do you think this Browns team can keep it up and maybe get to the playoffs?
Yeah, I mean, I do. Baker Mayfield is finally, using his arsenal he has to the best of his ability. I mean, Odell Beckham on Sunday was catching some unbelievable passes.
Yeah, and
And
I think credit to head coach Kevin Stefanski. I agree with the praise that he's getting because he's playing to the strengths of his roster. He really is. And even when Nick Chubb goes down in a game against the Colts that they could have easily lost, he kept his foot on the gas. He kept believing in the offense and played to their strengths. And that is why the Browns are out to a 4-1 start right there.
yeah,
But,
and I mean, with Chubb
yeah.
healthy, right along with Kareem Hunt, that is a nasty backfield.
Yeah, and it gives even more credit to. I was pounding the desk like that, saying, "Get Freddie Kitchens out of here. He's not an NFL head coach. He's holding Baker Mayfield and this Browns team back." And you're seeing it now. Kevin Stefanski is a legit NFL head coach, and he's winning with these guys, the same guys that Kitchens couldn't.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, he's doing a great job, and I could see Cleveland, if they can keep this same core, doing something in the next couple of years.
Yeah, they have a good defense as well. So, and you got that two-headed monster at running back, Baker, playing decent. I mean, he's got to cut down on some of the interceptions. He had some costly interceptions that could have let you guys back into the game there in the third and fourth quarter. But at the end of the day, he's 4-1.
Yeah, and I mean, he has to learn how to be able to play in the fourth quarter. That is what's gonna bring down Cleveland if he doesn't, pick that up.
Yeah, I agree. Let's go Giants at Cowboys. The 0-4 Giants at the 1-3 Cowboys. Cowboys sneak together a 37-34 win. But the big news coming out of this game, the nasty injury that Dak Prescott suffered, a compound ankle fracture, out, I believe, 4 to 6 months. Sucks for Dak. I think it's going to be more like 6 months. Sucks for Dak, and hope he can return to be as good as ever, and hopefully he gets paid. Did you see that injury live? There was some people like, oh, that's not as bad as everyone's saying. I saw it right away. He was holding up his leg and his foot was facing the wrong direction.
Yeah, I've seen it, and I just want to, give a shout out to tell Dak. I hope he gets better and has a fast recovery. Man, that looked
Yeah,
ugly.
he did, and he's a tough guy. I know he was going through some mental shit, so I hope he stays strong and sees light at the end of the tunnel. Comes back stronger than ever.
He's definitely gonna get his money. I know that for sure.
Yeah, and he absolutely should, and he should have been paid already. He should have been paid already, and this wouldn't be. That's why he was so emotional and in shock when the injury happened because he was in tears on the way out because it was like a lot of uncertainty for the kid, and I hope he comes back and gets paid.
Yeah, and I mean, he was on pace to make NFL history. I mean,
Oh my God, he was on pace for
over 6,000 passing yards.
over 6,000. We've never seen that. That was incredible.
I really would have loved to have seen it, to be honest.
Yeah, me too. But hey, we just had Hugh Jackson on who detailed how backup quarterback Andy Dalton can help keep this Cowboys team afloat and potentially even win the NFC East. That would be quite the story that Andy Dalton is a quarterback in the playoffs again.
Yeah, and I mean, Dalton was never really a terrible quarterback.
Yeah.
It's just after Marvin Lewis left Cincinnati, he kind of fell off because, the whole team, the whole franchise kind of went to dirt. But,
Yeah. Yeah, and I think they're built to win. I mean, you got weapons all around them. And then on top of that, you got Zeke and Tony Pollard. The Cowboys can play more of a ground and pound offense. To me, the biggest question mark is not the quarterback position. It's that defense. Can that defense stop an offense at all?
yeah, I mean, they're going to have to because, in
Dalton's
order
not putting
to
up 40 points every week.
yeah, you can't let no team put up 40 points or it's not going to be a very good season.
Yeah, absolutely. Vikings Seahawks on Monday night. Vikings jump out to a 13-0 halftime lead. Seahawks rally to go up 21-13. Vikings take a 26-21 lead, an opportunity to kick a short field goal and extend their lead to 8 at 29-21, but instead, head coach Mike Zimmer decides to go for it on 4th and inches and is stopped short. Turnover on downs, and Russell Wilson called it. He said they already know what we're going to do. And then comes out, leads a game-winning touchdown drive. Beautiful pass to DK Metcalf for the win. That's got to be on Mike Zimmer, right? Take the points, go up 8, and force the other team. Worst case scenario, you're going to overtime at that point.
Yeah, I totally agree. I mean, 8 points is, they would have to go for a 2-point conversion, which is a low percentage of them, completing that. And
just to go to OT,
yeah,
like
there's
that,
never.
And on top of it, that wasn't a long field goal. That was a very short field goal. You're talking the 5-yard line. That's like a 20-yard field goal.
Yeah, I mean, it was just like Hugh just said. He went with what he felt in his heart.
Yeah.
But I mean, at the end of the day, sometimes that comes between a win and a loss.
Hey, when you got that girl you got your eyes on, that crush, and it turns out that she's not what you were thinking, not what you built up in your mind. Your heart was wrong on that one. Well, the same thing happened to Mike Zimmer. Your heart was wrong on that one. Kick the field goal.
Yeah, absolutely, and hopefully this is a learning curve for him.
Absolutely. So how is it possible that we're getting to this point and Russell Wilson has 0 career MVP votes? How is that even possible?
That's something that I personally can't explain. I mean, in my opinion, he should have won the MVP the year he won the Super Bowl because, I mean, Russell Wilson, ever since he stepped in the league, he's been a top 5 quarterback.
He has, and he never got the credit. It was always the Legion of Boom. It was always Marshawn Lynch. And, anyone else, I always knew it. I always saw it. Russell Wilson was the man, especially in the clutch.
Yeah, and he was also being, playing in the league at the same time as Manning and, Brady still and Rodgers and Roethlisberger. So he was being overshadowed, but now, Manning's gone, Brady's struggling, Breeze is struggling. This is his time.
Well, and you could say, because he doesn't get the love. You look at even now, Patrick Mahomes and Lamar Jackson are getting all the love. Yet Russell Wilson's over here with an undefeated 5-0 ball club, and he's got to be the favorite right now for MVP.
Yeah, I mean, it's close between him and your favorite quarterback, Aaron Rodgers, but
Rodgers is in there. He is, but so it is going to come down to, I think, Russell Wilson and Aaron Rodgers. But who would have thought going into this season that Patrick Mahomes is like your 3rd-ranked MVP candidate? It's pretty crazy.
Yeah, I actually thought he would repeat as, back-to-back MVPs, but
yeah, we'll see. I'm sure he'll turn it around and get going.
But Russell deserves it, and if Russell keeps playing how he is and doesn't win, there's something wrong.
Oh, doesn't win MVP. Yeah, I know. I do think this is the year, though. I think he gets it. Now, let's see. That was Sunday Night Football. Let's go to Monday Night Football, where the Chargers took on the Saints, and the Saints win in overtime 30-27. I tweeted, I was like, Week 5 has been unreal because every game has been so much fun to watch. Every game's coming down to the last drive, and it's just back and forth. Great football the entire week. Tuesday night, not as much, but Monday night was awesome. Goes to overtime. Michael Badgley misses a 50-yarder at the end of regulation that could have won it. A great play by Saints corner Marshawn Lattimore, another Buckeye, making the game-winning tackle on wide receiver Mike Williams, keeping them inches short of a first down on 4th and 7. So a big win for the Saints to get to 3-2. But how about Justin Herbert, the rookie quarterback? He made a throw early in the game that I was like, damn, that did not look like a rookie quarterback on that throw. He seems to be pretty talented.
Yeah, I mean Herbert is talented, and I think he was one of the more underlooked quarterbacks in the draft. I mean, I thought he should have went in the first, top 5, but that's just
Yeah,
me. And I mean, again, it came down to a kicker having to win a game for their team, and they miss. I mean, what is
yeah.
going on with the kicking game these days?
Effing kickers, man. It's always the kickers, always blowing it.
I mean, that's like, man. But
um, yeah, I gotta be honest. I slept on Herbert a little bit coming out of the draft. I didn't watch a lot of Oregon football. I'll admit that, and I didn't think Herbert was gonna be the guy. But so far, he's looked pretty good with the Chargers.
yeah, and I think that is his job for the future. Um,
Absolutely.
I know Anthony Lynn really likes him.
How much does it
So
suck to be Tyrod Taylor right now? Year after year, he was there when Baker Mayfield got drafted, and got replaced like week 3. Then he goes to the Chargers, hopes it's not going to be the same situation, gets replaced like week 3. Like, I believe it wasn't it like week 3? So, you know, Tyrod Taylor, he can't keep a job. He's a good bridge quarterback, but that bridge never lasts very long.
yeah, and I mean, but the Chargers needed a young, up and coming quarterback, and I
Yeah.
believe that they found one.
Mm-hmm.
Shoot, I would rather take Herbert over Rivers anyway.
What about coming out of college? Rivers or Herbert?
Oh, definitely Herbert.
Man, Rivers was pretty good in his prime though. But part of the reason he was so good is he had Labini and Tomlinson and Antonio Gates and all those guys.
Yeah, man. I mean, he played in the ACC.
Let's go to the Tuesday night football, the rare Tuesday night game. Battle of Undefeateds was expected to be a great game. Didn't turn out to be as good as we were hoping. 42-16, the Titans roll over the Bills. 4 touchdowns from Ryan Tannehill, 3 passing, 1 rushing. After going all the way to the AFC Championship game last year and now starting 2020 at 4-0, I think it's time we start giving the Titans some respect.
Yeah, I mean, it's hard for me to say that, but
I know. That's why I was saying it.
yeah. Oh, yeah. I definitely respect Tennessee, and I respect Tannehill even more. I mean, he's had a major resurgence since joining Tennessee.
Yeah. Now, here's a stat you didn't see coming. In the same time span, the last 14 games for Patrick Mahomes and Ryan Tannehill, Tannehill has the same record as Mahomes at 11-3, only 72 less passing yards than Mahomes, more touchdown passes at 31, and a better passer rating at 116. So Tannehill, since taking over in Tennessee, has been slightly better than Patrick Mahomes when he won a Super Bowl. Isn't that crazy?
Yeah, that's a crazy stat to think about there. And, I mean, Coach Vrabel just, turned Tannehill around a complete 360.
They did, and Derrick Henry on top of it. Did you see that Derrick Henry stiff arm on Josh Norman?
Absolutely, man. Every time I watch Derrick Henry play, I'm just like, this dude is a monster.
Yeah, he is. He
He
is
looks like
awesome.
a tight end with running a football. I mean, he's so big.
Yep. I was watching, I believe it was high school tape of Derrick Henry, and he's like a lot bigger than everyone else and pushing people over. It looked exactly the same as him in the NFL, just pushing players over. He's a monster, just like DK Metcalf.
Yeah, which is crazy because, I mean, he was always good at Alabama, but you didn't see that type of power with him pushing people over.
Yeah, they should have used him more, to be honest.
Yeah,
But
and he's just a beast, man.
yeah, you look back, you think back, it's like, why didn't Bama? Because Julio Jones came out of Bama, right?
Yeah, he did.
Why didn't Bama use Julio Jones and Derrick Henry more when they were there? It's like those guys could have been superstars.
Oh yeah, yeah, but Nick Saban has his ways of doing things.
He's, crazy genius. So,
But
well, good
there,
shit, Dustin. Week 5 in the books. The NFL has been a success so far. A lot of fun.
yeah, it's been a great season so far, and I am so happy that COVID is outbreaking a little bit, but they're finding ways to still bring us great football.
Yeah. Are you excited for week 6? You got any bold predictions for week 6?
Week 6, of course, Indianapolis blows out Cincinnati.
There you go.
Chicago, I think the game that's going to be fun to watch is going to be Chicago and Carolina. That's going to be a good one.
That is. We need
Chicago
to win
wins
that
that.
one. I'm looking forward to. Go ahead.
Sorry about that.
No worries.
Chicago wins barely, but it's going to be a good game. But the game of the week is going to be Tampa Bay and Green Bay. Aaron Rodgers versus Tom Brady.
Yep, I'm gonna have my Bucks jersey on for that one. Go Tampa Bay, go old goat Tom Brady. Take it to Aaron Rodgers, beat the Packers. They need a loss on that record.
Yeah,
Plus, I don't want to see the Bucks sitting at 3-3. 4-2 is a lot better. I don't want to see Tom Brady, Rob Gronkowski, Leonard Fournette, and this Bucks team potentially miss the playoffs and have a down year. I want to see them contending and playing to their best abilities. So, go Bucks against Green Bay. Hand them their first loss.
If the Packers take that loss, that NFC North could get interesting.
Yeah, if we can beat the Panthers, which in typical Bears fashion, watch us lose to the Panthers. But I really hope we win that one. And then a sneaky game of the week is Monday night. We got a doubleheader on Monday night at 5:00. Is Chiefs at Bills, and that I know the Bills are coming off a tough loss, which I think is going to have them fired up, ready to go up against Mahomes and the Chiefs. I have a hard time picking Buffalo, but I hope that they give us a game and not a blowout like last night.
Yeah, that's going to be a good game, and I forgot to mention Cleveland and Pittsburgh.
Oh yeah, I got a prediction for that one. Steelers big.
Oh, Steelers big. Okay.
Chase Claypool is going to keep going off, and Baker won't know what to do with that Steelers defense.
Yeah,
he's going to be befuddled. But sounds good. Good shit, Dustin. A productive day of podcasting, huh?
What was that?
I said, sounds good, Dustin. A productive day of podcasting, huh?
Oh, yeah, man. It was great. The first one was a dream come true, and I really appreciate it.
Yep. And so can't wait for week 6. Appreciate the support, guys. Don't forget to like, subscribe, leave a comment. Look us up on any of the podcast apps, Stitcher, iTunes, Google Podcasts, Spotify, all that. You'll find Alex Leak and Friends NFL Podcast. So me and Dustin are going to keep cranking these episodes out. We got more interviews on deck. So stay tuned and have a good week, guys. Peace out. Shit, hold up.